I've decided to start recording whilst Evie's internet has died. So,
Am I
oh
back?
no, wait, she's back. Yeah, there we go.
I'm back. My internet went at that exact moment.
I thought it'd be a very fun time to start recording at the exact same moment that your internet died, which is good. Because I like
Yay.
the bloopers, and that's the ultimate blooper, isn't it, really? Hello, viewer. The general idea was going to be we were going to have like a nice structured chat about like mental health stuff and football and all that shebang. And then I ended up having 2 or 3 meetings, which were adventurous, shall we say. I don't think I'm allowed to go into any more detail. And I've just recorded an episode of Balls Knowledge, so I think we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about the season, how we're feeling emotionally. And yeah, we're going to have a nice vibe. It's going to be the same gist as the streams that I do sometimes, where you can just like sit back, listen, have a chat. It's all good. So, I would like to start on the fact that after the Leeds United match against QPR, I watched a stream on the Just Joe Football Show channel, and you looked like you had seen a loved one get beheaded. Um, are you feeling more okay now? What's the vibe?
Yeah, I think it was just it. I hadn't felt that low about football. There'd been games that where we hadn't played our best, probably like the Southampton one, um, and probably Huddersfield was the other one. But I could add a bit of context into both of those. But it just felt like relegation. And I know we're fighting for promotion, but essentially, if we don't get promoted, then it's like we've been relegated all over again because we still end up in the championship next season. And I think it was just a lack of any fight, which we became really familiar with last season, especially after the um, the Crystal Palace meltdown. We just gave up. Everybody gave up, and I think that it was just too concerning as to how similar I felt with both of those kind of games, and um, the fact that we're within touching distance, and it seems to be that every time we get so close to being able to actually have it in our hands, we just kind of it's like a bit like a hot potato, and we just give it back kind of thing because we can't deal with it. But yeah, I feel a lot more. My emotions have been regulated since since then because I was fine up until the point where I was speaking, and then I got choked up because one of the things with me is I scream and shout at the football, but when I'm angry, I don't shout. I often cry, and it's not because I'm upset, it's because I'm angry. So, obviously it comes across as, being and everybody, I just want to throw out that everybody was really, really supportive and nice in the chat. Nobody was derogatory, which is quite refreshing. Um, but yeah, it was an exhausting game to watch. And previously, like last season, I used to get loads of washing and cleaning done during the Leeds games because I couldn't watch it. I was so emotionally drained from watching our team fail and just show no fight. And then I decided to put myself through. I'd done all my cleaning, so I didn't have anything to clean. So I actually had to sit there and watch as QPR put 4 goals past us. Like Leicester didn't. Like, no other team has put 4 goals past us this season. Even in the cup, even Chelsea only managed 3. So QPR, but it just goes to show the when you're in a relegation fight and you do actually care, sometimes these results can happen because of the fact that they wanted to stay in the championship more than we wanted to get out of it, and that's how it
Yeah,
felt.
yeah.
So
It
yeah.
was yeah. It was one of those spots where like I think I mentioned it on the final word the next day that like once the fourth went in, I just sort of like laughed a bit because I was like, we've already lost this game, and it's the point where if I get angry, there's no point because sod it. And like I recently went on this like emotional regulation course because ADHD is great fun. And I sort of like landed in the place of if I don't find this funny, I'm gonna get really mad. Which I think I was sort of lucky to land in that spot, weirdly. But how are you feeling about the next few days of football? Because I think in my head I'm in that more sort of zen spot of we're probably not going to go up automatically. It's probably the playoffs, but if it isn't, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as we're recording, the Ipswich game is about to kick off. And obviously, even if they win, we are technically in with a chance, but I just can't see Huddersfield. It's not that I can't see them not scoring because we all know everybody can score against Ipswich. They've probably got the fewest clean sheets in the league, but they can score. They will just, they're very similar in the mentality of like Bielsa, we'll just score more than you kind of thing. And, they are still riding that crest of a wave from promotion from League One. But yeah, it is in our hands. It's the sadistic part of me kind of wanted Ipswich to just win both games and just have it done so that we can at
have it out
least
the
get in
way.
our heads. Yeah, and get in our heads, let's get ready for playoffs kind of mentality rather than there's a chance, could we do it?
Maybe.
So
Still
yeah.
on, sort of.
Yeah. It's I'm not anything. If we get, obviously we're guaranteed playoffs, we're guaranteed third place. Anything above that is a bonus. Our goal difference literally could get us promoted, and that's, we could not score another goal, and if Ipswich, make a mess of it, we get promoted without scoring another goal. And it's not, if it was any other team other than Ipswich, I could say that's probably, an actual chance, but Ipswich don't, they win. They've got this mentality.
They're kind of relentless this season. They don't slow down.
2 draws would do it for them if we don't win against Southampton. So that's all they really need. 2 points probably, because if the same team that showed up at QPR show up on Saturday, that's that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be good enough, is it?
And I know it sounds ridiculous because other than the Blackburn game, our home form's been incredible, but I almost wish that we were away from home because I think Ellen Road is going to be nervous as hell. I think the pressure in that game is, I don't know, if it was too much to handle away at QPR when all the away fans are going to be singing and shouting, and they're more, not more supportive, I don't mean that in a derogatory way,
but they're more like
fans,
hardcore sort of.
Yeah, and they're they're the same fans that went and saw us get beat 7-0 by City, and we were still out singing them when they were winning 7-0. So it's the hope that kills you, and I feel like it's just a really slow, agonizing death. I would rather we just know you're promoted or you're in the playoffs. It's this slither of hope.
Yeah, it's the thought of, but maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. You kind of get flashbacks to that Rafinha moment in, when we stayed up at Brentford. You just kind of get that feeling of, what if, this would be the ultimate skin of your teeth promotions that has probably ever happened, because we're 16th in the form table, so we have no right really to go up automatically.
But then again, there are also periods where Ipswich have been around 16th in the form table, so it's yeah. I've just had a quick look at the league table myself, and I hadn't noticed how close we are to not having West Brom in the playoffs, which everyone is saying that Carlos Corberán is the scary one in there. So weirdly, that's probably going to be the third match that I'm watching on the last day of the season, which I didn't think that I'd be saying.
Is it going to be a Hull already in 6th?
Hull are in 7th, 2 points behind West Brom.
Norwich. So Norwich are in
Norwich are
5th.
5th, yeah. Norwich are the team that I sort of wanted to face there.
Yeah, me too, because we've beaten them twice, and out of the last 4 times that we've played them, we've beaten them. So I was kind of wanting Norwich as well.
Yeah, at least that feels good. Like, the vibes are nice with Norwich.
Yeah. If we get Hull, the momentum that they're going to have, and yes, we scored more goals, but they outplayed us at Ellen Road. Like, they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net because they had no strikers that day.
But at the
they
end of the
outplayed
day,
us.
isn't putting the ball in the back of the net what matters?
Yeah, and if we can't do it against,
You're sounding a bit Jesse Marsh with this XG stuff.
If we can't do it against QPR, then
Well, yeah, but I just, to be fair, QPR have conceded less this season than Hull.
Yeah,
which surprised me a bit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Which I didn't think was true, but now I'm looking, I'm like, how's that happened? Why are you 17th and you're 7th? What's going on? But the Championship is the stupidest league on the planet, and that's why I would quite like us to leave it now, please. That would be very, very nice.
Yes. Yeah.
God.
Me too.
So this was hopping into the idea of the mental healthy chat. And a lot of people have been in the discussion of does losing a football match ruin the weekend? Where do you sort of sit on that? Because for me, I think it helps that both I do this and I work in sports stuff anyway. So when I immediately make a video afterwards and analyze it, I can then see it's processing it a little bit faster. So if we get hammered, I'm like, okay, but it makes sense that we did, and maybe there's a way to fix it. And even then, odds are in 4 hours I'm going to have to watch a football match in Spain anyway. So, but how does it sort of affect you comparatively?
I think in general, I'm quite a positive person, but I allow myself to feel sad. So the way I deal with things in general is I acknowledge the fact that I feel X, whatever it is that I'm feeling. I acknowledge that I'm feeling it and allow myself to kind of wallow. But I allow maybe a day, 2 maximum. And then I think, right, I've done my wallowing, I've done my self-pity, I've had multiple cups of tea and, some comforting, biscuits or pasta or something, and then moved on. Because I find if you if you either wallow too much or don't acknowledge it at all, you're just bottling it up for later on. So on Friday, I allowed myself to feel really sad and miserable, and I allowed myself to hate Leeds a little bit that night because I felt that they'd let us down. I felt like every player out there, and the only one who came away with any sort of credit, Junior Furfer. But Daniel Farke let us down. Everybody let us down. Meslier went to Meslier of last season that got dropped by Sam Allardyce kind of thing. But the problem is other than Klaassen, because I don't trust Darlow, I don't think we have a suitable replacement. So it's not even like we could do anything really in that kind of area this season. But I allowed myself to just feel a bit rubbish for the night. And then by the time Saturday came, I was like, right, well, it's done, and I kind of accepted playoffs, and not in a negative way, just in a,
we're here now, we have to deal with it
it's,
kind of way.
It's, these are the cards that have been presented in front of us. We've got to play them kind of thing. And that's that, for as much as I'm quite a pragmatic and realistic type of person, you know, I immediately took off my like jumper, put it in the wash, and was like, right, well, I'm not wearing that jumper. You know, that has to go through the wash because of the fact that we've lost whilst I was wearing that kind of thing. So I know that whatever I wear or do has no impact
Will not
on the game
impact anything.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I then, you know, just think, well, you know, it's Leeds, so therefore, if I do something, it might
It might
impact
change things. Never know.
it. So yeah, I allow myself to wallow, then pick myself up, dust myself off, and we go again. And then Ipswich drew.
And then Ipswich drew.
Gave us that shred of hope. And
that maybe, just maybe, things can be fine. Who knows? Maybe they get like 17 red cards against Coventry, sorry. And they don't have a team for the last day of the season. That'd be so good. I'd love that.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. But I feel like it's not the world that we are living in.
No, unfortunately not. Maybe that draw actually spurs them on to make sure they get a win tonight, kind of thing.
But you could have said this.
Don't have anything to play for, but sometimes that helps. Sometimes it allows the shackles because there's no pressure anymore. You know, it's not a must-win game. It's a let's go and play football kind of game.
Let's have some fun kind of thing.
Yeah. And you know, maybe if we play attractive football now, we're going to attract more players to help us get promoted next season. So you can argue it both ways, can't you? Or they're on the beach, or, you know, well, you play with more freedom when you've got nothing to play for anymore.
Either way, we'll find out in about 6 minutes. I'm going to pop back in a moment, by the way, because I realised I completely forgot the potatoes.
Go sort out your potatoes.
I'll be like 2 minutes.
Half Irish, I feel like I have to tell you, go sort out your potatoes.
Whether or not I keep this in the video depends on how well Evie babysits the viewers goes.
Oh God, there's no chat for me to even interact with.
I can't hear you right now.
I could say all sorts and he doesn't know. It's a shame it's not a live stream. Baby Zebra, you could tell me what to say. Cruel and bullying words, because that's the kind of person that Joe is. A cruel bully who takes the mick out of people's internet issues. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that way about the Ipswich game, but I've got game anxiety.
And back.
I've said all sorts of stuff.
I'm sure you did, yeah. Yeah.
Drop all sorts of F-bombs, C-bombs. You're going to have some great editing to do.
I mean, it's you getting cancelled. I've never seen someone get cancelled before they even launched their channel.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
That'd be great. Okay, so last question on the mental health brainy bits and bobs. And this is something that I thought to myself like a couple of weeks ago when I was in the sort of like coping with the fact that we might not be going up thing. Does it matter at the end of the day? Because if we go up, yeah, that's fun. We get a fun moment or so. But next season we get to lose 2/3 of our matches. Or if we stay down, we get to win a bunch of our matches, but we might not get promoted. So, like, at the end of the day, are we all taking it a little bit too seriously?
Yeah, I agree. But the issue is if the money was more evenly distributed between the Premier League and the EFL, then there wouldn't be this desperation and this anxiety, stress, and just toxic behaviour from fans, because we wouldn't be concerned that we're going to lose all of our players. We wouldn't be concerned about FFP or anything like that, because if we stay down, you're right, we get to win a load more games, because it has been up until these last couple of weeks when the pressure has piled on. it's been so much fun. Yes, August was like shambolic, and the last 5 weeks have been incredibly stressful. But the middle section was so much fun to see us winning, and not just winning, but not conceding and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. You get promoted and look at Burnley and Sheffield and Luton, and Luton have probably had the best out of the three of them, but they're still in the relegation zone. They're still more than likely going to get relegated again. And if we don't go up, then yeah, we're probably not going to have a mass exodus like so many people are panicking about. But we are probably going to have to sell one player, and that will probably be Somerville.
Yeah.
But money is probably the worst thing, the worst necessity in the world, because it's ruined really the fans' game element of it, because we shouldn't have to be worried about finances. We shouldn't have to be worried that the team, we should want to love all of these players, and we don't let ourselves get attached, because we think, well, if we don't go up, then we lose them. So then we can't get attached to them. So then the moment that these players do one thing wrong, we're all on their backs. Instead of encouraging them and supporting them through whatever kind of dip in form they have, we get on their backs, because in the back of our heads, all we can think about is if we don't go up, we don't keep these players. So if they're not performing well, we don't get promoted. We don't keep them. So don't get close to them, because we're going to lose them at some point. And then you hear about all the vultures circling, like Slot, obviously, probably going to Liverpool and taking Somerville with him, and all of his interest throughout the season makes a lot more sense now, because no way would Somerville have gone back to Feyenoord. It just wouldn't make sense. But yeah, it doesn't matter. But it does, because it's the Premier League.
But it feels like it does, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the necessary evil. You have to be in the Premier League in order to attract players and keep players, but nobody actually wants to be in the Premier League unless you are one of the big six, because you don't get decisions, you don't get the leniency. It's the lower teams getting the points deductions. It's not the higher up teams. And it's just not that much fun, but that's where all the money is. If the money was more equally distributed, I wouldn't be bothered about staying in the Championship. Yeah. Don't want Europe. We can't do Europe yet anyway. Like, we don't have the squad depth to do Europe. So what would be the point of going up and straight to the top? Because look at Newcastle, look at Brighton. They don't have the squads for Europe. They did it and they got there.
And
then they then got battered.
Pounded by injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can't do it. You try, and that's why, for as much as I would have loved to win the FA Cup, if we'd have won the FA Cup, not got promoted, and then you've got a 46-game season and Europe at the same time, as well as the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup.
That sounds a bit nightmarish by that point.
Yeah, and you don't have the money or the resources because you're in your second year of the Championship. So I know you have the revenue from, whatever, it's the Europa League, isn't it? Yeah. So, but the players really want to come to just play there. They want to come for the money of the Premier League and play in Europe. So yeah, money essentially has ruined football. And if it wasn't for that, the Championship would be fine. I'd be fine with staying in it. It's more enjoyable. The fans are often better. You get better banter. Refereeing standards are terrible, but there is no VAR. So, that's a plus.
Yeah. So, Comrade Evie, we are overthrowing the concept of money and moving to Cuba. Sound about right?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Oh God, no, not Cuba.
Maybe not Cuba. It's a bit warm for me. I'm like a cold temperatures kind of guy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a nice rambly, chatty thing, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Like the video if you did. Comment down below if you want to see more of these bits and bobs. Subscribe if you aren't yet, or even become a channel member. All that revenue is still going to Prostate Cancer UK. I've got a big announcement on that coming soon-ish. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you later. And this is just the bit where I don't stop it recording for a minute. I'm liking the little...
I'm just going to do a little dance. This can be your outro.
Okay. Oh,